Welcome to Raising the Curve, a podcast designed to teach you everything that you need to know to be better with your money. Come and learn alongside me, Sophie Hallwright, a total beginner, from the finance expert, Victoria Harris.
So I've asked all of the questions you wish you could so that finance, investing and growing your wealth actually makes sense.
Yes, it's expert education, but that we promise will not be boring.
And in the wise words of Cher,
my mom said to me, you know, sweetheart, one day you should settle down and marry a rich man. And I said, Mom, I am a rich man.
Come and talk and learn and laugh with us, because together we really can raise the curve. Before we dive into today's episode, we would like to just take a brief moment of your time to let you know about a little podcast we've done with Lexus. We all know what buy now, pay later is, right? You might not need a dress, you buy it, you get the dress, you pay it off later. That's not the most amazing way to use your money or to buy things. However, sometimes when it comes to, say, buying a new car, you might not have the full amount to pay straight away. And that's why car financing for some people could actually be a really amazing option. In this episode that we've recorded with Lexus, not the one that you're about to listen to, but you can find the link in the podcast show notes, we explain exactly how car financing works so that you can understand how you're paying interest off over time. Right now, Lexus has a deal that is 1.9% interest, which is incredibly low. If you are thinking, gosh, I would love a new car, but I don't think I could put all the money down at once, watch this episode. You can follow the link in the podcast show notes and we'll explain exactly how the deal works. Back to today's episode. Thank you so much to everyone who sent their horror stories in, because I think firstly, great content. Secondly, it's quite brave to admit the stuff that didn't go right. There's some that are like lighthearted, there's some that are actually kind of scary and confronting, but you learn from other people's mistakes. And I think, it's brave from everyone that sent it in, and just wanted to say thank you, because I think everyone will learn from what hasn't gone right. Yeah. You're only normally hearing the stories that have gone really well, and you don't really learn from those.
It's like stocks. People are like, I invested in this and it's gone so well. It's like you never hear of the ones.
Yeah, totally. So thank you for everyone for being brave, and we're going to read those out.
The first one here is from Lily. I listened to a podcast in 2022 that suggested investing in NVIDIA. Well, I didn't, because I thought, I don't understand AI, and so I'm going to do a Warren Buffett and not invest in things I don't understand. Still kicking myself every time NVIDIA's success is brought up. Lots of love, you girls.
Lily. Does this make you think actually that's not a horror story? I mean, I fully understand why she thinks it's a horror story, but your whole approach to investing is don't be stressed about the stuff you miss out on. That's kind of exactly what we try and teach people, is invest in stuff you understand and know.
Yes, but I think now she probably understands and knows AI, right?
Right. Okay, yeah. I see what you're saying.
If I think of some of my biggest regrets, it's not investing in stuff, but hindsight's great, and you're always going to have that. It's how to deal with that psychology and realize, as long as she invested in other things and didn't just not invest at all.
I wonder also if maybe the learning here could be, if you don't understand something, but you have a sneaking suspicion that it might be a good investment or an idea, lean in to try and learn about it too.
Totally.
Because if 3 years ago you thought, I don't really understand AI, maybe I should listen to some podcasts about that before deciding. You know, like, it's fine to not know about something. You know what you is in close proximity, what your friends talk about, what you like, what job you're in. You're not going to always know about things, but perhaps it's just having a curious mindset of, this is something I don't understand, I'm going to try and lean into learning more.
Yes, agreed.
You know?
Yeah.
Because then you might have thought, actually, shit, this is a great opportunity, I'm going to invest in it. Okay, this is from Hannah. I recently opened a savings account with a 5.2% return. Quite high. Very good. Nice work, Hannah. In that account, I can withdraw from my money the same day, no waiting period. Very good if you have an emergency or you need your money. I also opened a fixed term account, which is what, Vic?
Like a term deposit.
As I'm doing some renovations, and had a large amount of money sitting in the bank while I wait for the building process to begin. I figured it was much better to have it in a fixed term account earning 6.25 than with the bank getting sweet F all. However, I would say 5.2 is not sweet F all.
Stop narrating.
Sorry. And I knew no building or deposits would be needed for at least 6 months. The fixed term account is a term deposit, and you can only access the money every 3 months. To withdraw, you need to put in a request before the term renews. As the end of my 3-month term got close, I started drip feeding my day-to-day money from my savings into the term saver to get that 1.05 extra for 8 weeks. Each week, I'd assess how much I'd need and empty a bit more into my daily account to the point that I almost empty the whole thing. So she basically saying she's putting all of her extra money into this term deposit as she leads up to this like cutoff where she needs to take the money out. Okay.
I think. Yeah.
Okay. As we rolled into October, I went to put in my withdrawal request and to my horror realised the term had renewed. I tipped basically all my daily spending, which I used to pay bills and living costs, into a deposit that I now can't access until January. Shit. I felt sick. I had no money to live on. I meant to be going to Mexico in January, and my flight money was in that account too. I can see where I went wrong. The wording said withdrawal request to be received by October, but in my mind, I read that as withdrawal request to be received in October. Oh God, that's quite a classic mistake, isn't it? I hadn't double checked exactly when the term was ending. What a massive oversight. There's a big difference in such a small word. Hands up, I made a big mistake and I learned a really valuable lesson. Also, is it just me or do facilities do wording like this deliberately to confuse and catch us out? That is so shit.
I've actually heard this happen a few times to people.
Really?
And it is one of the things with the term deposit. It's like it does just keep rolling over. Like you have to stop the term and
like
stop
they're not going to alert you and be like, coming up to your date.
No, like they obviously want to keep your money. And
it's like a subscription kind of.
And for a lot of people that probably works, right? Because they just have money in a term deposit, not set for something that they want to withdraw it for. They probably just are rolling it as and using it as a savings account.
What are you meant to do though? All your money?
You just have to bite the bullet, I guess, and pay the exit fee. Because like you can get your money out. It just costs you because you're breaking a contract essentially. So they do charge you a breaking term fee.
This is like a breaking a lease fee. You just have to pay more.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know how much it would be on this one, but it's probably something that she would have to do.
It's a hard pill to swallow when the whole reason you did in the first place was to try and get more returns and you're trying to be clever about it and you're trying to get extra and then you end up having to kind of probably lose out on the returns because you have to pay the break.
Yeah. And I think it's if in doubt, like reach out to someone at the bank and be like, what is the cutoff date? Or, so you're just like super clear and put like a million reminders in your bank, in your diary.
That's such a shit one.
It's another one from Sam. It says, buying my first ever stocks in a Danish company called Novo Nordisk at £130 a share in May 2024. The company is the highest valued company in Europe and worth more than the entire Danish economy, and I picked them basically solely on the amount of demand for Ozempic. First month is dandy. Love the word dandy. Continue to invest small amounts and stock price continues to go up, reaching a peak in late June. Within 3 months, it publishes disappointing results for new medicines, begins losing its monopoly on weight loss drugs to a competitor which is more effective, slashes its earnings forecast and its share price halves. Decide to hold onto my shares given the huge demand for these medicines and thinking they'll have a breakthrough soon, but it doesn't really materialize. So I've bought their stock at almost the highest price it's ever been. The share price crashes and the value of the pound significantly falls against the dollar. The shares are bought in US dollars. And now my investment is only worth about a third of what I initially invested.
Oh my God, devastating.
This week, their board had a meltdown and the chairman and 6 directors quit. So obviously not optimistic about any recovery. Decided in August 2024 to invest in Eli Lilly, who are doing better instead. That's the competitor. Within 2 months, they slashed their revenue expectations, causing the share price to drop 13% in a day. The pound continues to fall against the dollar, and then Donald Trump assumes the presidency, threatening tariffs on pharmaceuticals. He forces Eli Lilly to hike the price of meds sold in the UK against their will, pushing people into Novo's products. In August 2025...
Oh, Jesus, and they've sold their Novo Nordisk. Oh my God.
In August 2025, Eli Lilly also releases disappointing results for their new weight loss tablet, causing shares to fall by almost 15%, and the state of Texas take them to court for illegally bribing clinicians to prescribe their medicines. So, moral of the story is, don't put all your eggs in one basket that's on a diet, and don't choose to invest in companies just because all of your friends want to buy their product.
Oh, so many things in that one.
I mean, what screams out to me is diversification. Like, this is a prime example of why we say do not invest in multiple things.
I think it sucks because it sounds like Sam really was doing his or her research.
Yeah.
In terms of
100%.
Knew what was going on, was trying to stay informed, was really wasn't being a passive, I'm just going to chuck money here. Even the fact that he or she is across the fact that 6 people in the board, I just think it sucks when you're trying that hard.
Totally. But I'm also we're talking about a year here.
Oh, so your thing is you could have held on. It could have gone down.
It sounds like he or she still has the shares.
Don't stress yet. You haven't actually lost money yet.
Yeah. I'm yes, it's fallen 50% this year, but I'm also, You're right. It is one of the leaders in the weight loss space. Well, there's Eli Lilly now, but they're both leaders in the weight loss, the GLP-1 drug space. They've got, before even all of that, it was a very, very valuable pharmaceuticals company. We still need healthcare. We still need pharmaceutical. I don't know. I'm just like, mate, it's only been a year.
Mate, keep going.
Yeah. But diversification and long-term view is kind of the advice I give here.
So like don't just be going in the diet culture space.
Yeah.
Okay, this one, Delaney. Love that name. Buckle up because it's been a ride. Flashback to early 2010. I was young, clueless, and reeling from the death of my mum. Oh, that's fucking sad. I knew next to nothing about investing other than property seemed to be the way to do it in New Zealand. When she passed, I found myself the owner of a freehold home, which means that the property, you own the land as well as the house.
Whereas leasehold, you just own the house.
Yeah. When I barely had $100 to my name. So I was ripe for the picking when along came, oh God, I hate where this is going, Mr. in brackets, wannabe big. An older man with aspirations of being Auckland's next big property developer. Next minute, I have a live-in boyfriend, and I've somehow been convinced to use the equity in my home to secure a mortgage for our first investment project. Oh, I'm actually really scared of this. Okay. 3 brick and tile units in need of a do-over. We renovate and sell each one in turn, and it's a success. Within 6 months, we've made $160,000 in profit. I'm rich. On the day the money arrives, I dutifully withdraw my share to pay back the loan, and am shocked when Mr. Wannabe Big flips out. He tells me he's already lined up another investment project and convinces me to keep my money in and the loan open for the time being, which, to be fair, a lot of people do, right?
Yeah. Especially if you'd made that much, you'd be like, oh, cool, okay, let's do it again.
I mean, this is what I did. Okay, at this point, oh my God, I feel like I need to take my gilet off. At this point, we had no contract in place, no assurances that the loan I've taken out will be paid back or what my share of the profit would be. But I love him, in brackets, I think, and trust him, in brackets, I think. So I ignore the feeling that I'm getting in over my head. He seems to know so much about finance and investing after all, ... The projects keep coming. We buy and resell plots. We subdivide land, and things seem to be moving ahead until I finally wake up to the red flags and pull the plug on the relationship. Right decision, but I might have thought about getting my name on the ownership titles first. Oh my effing God. As it stood, our property was in my ex's company's name, and I was relying on his good graces to repay my loan, let alone share profits. After months of chaos, he calmed down and agreed to meet. He said the sale was progressing and the money would hit our joint account by the end of the month. Mm. You can guess what happened next. The money didn't arrive. He said another project had come up, and if he'd paid me back, he couldn't pursue it. And how unfair would that be to his dreams? Oh, darling. He promised to cut me into the profits instead. They never came. The project failed, and I was left with nothing but a $300,000 loan and an aching wish that my mum were around to give advice. Oh, God. Eventually, I mean, honestly, when you're also grieving, and it's like when you get sick and all you want is your parents, like if something goes like terribly wrong, like you just want to hug. Eventually, the stress of the loan became too much and I sold my house. While I still wish I'd booted Mr. Snake Oil to the curb sooner, I can see now that it was the turning point in becoming an adult with my finances. I read up on investing. I learned that property isn't the only game in town. That was huge. The happy ending here is that I put what was left into boring low-cost index funds and watched them quietly grow ever since. I learned what building wealth really means. Slow and steady wins the race 99% of the time. And if you're going to fall for a Mr. Big type, know your own shit before listening to him. And for the love of God, get independent legal advice. That is, if anyone is listening to this, please do that. Final note, I know that it sounds a bit poor little rich girl, as inheriting a house was an insane privilege, even without all this drama. I know that I'm lucky, but back then, in the early 2010s, there wasn't much accessible financial education for young women, and I can only imagine how different things might have been if I had your podcast around at the time. That actually makes me feel so sad. Thanks for what you're doing. Keep up the good work. It's so shit how many people take advantage of people that don't know what they're doing.
Like, God, the fact that she can actually see have a positive.
I was going to say, she's
mindset after all
not
that.
bitter. Like, I'd be so gutted.
But I think it's like so right. Like slow and steady wins the race 99% of the time. It's like just invest consistently and regularly, and
that
have a
will
long-term
do
view.
what you need.
Yeah.
You don't need to get a quick win
And
overnight.
10 years might seem like such a long time, but like honestly, you'll blink and it will be 10 years. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just think, if you start trying to make quick wins and invest in things, and I get asked all the time, honestly, even the other day through DMs, what's something that I can invest in that's going to do well in the short term? I'm like, if I knew that, I would be doing this.
I think, Delaney, the piece that you said about financial advice and speaking to people is the most important part of that. A lot of the time we avoid spending on things like legal fees because it sounds so outrageous and you never think worst case scenario. I think there's a really fine balance between approaching something with positivity and optimism, and like, this guy could have been really great, he could have been amazing, but you do have to have a level of skepticism when it comes to money. It is technically business. You are in a business dynamic. It's not just love and where should we go for brunch. You have to have your wits about you, and I think that it doesn't matter how amazing your relationship is, always think this could, like any investment or any financial decision, actually be a disaster.
And if he truly loved you and you had approached to be like, hey, can we just put this in writing? Or hey, I just want to get some advice. He'd be like, yeah, cool, no worries.
He'd be like, smart.
Yeah.
Good work.
But you're so right, I think. And it doesn't like necessarily have to be legal advice, in the first instance. If you just have a friend that you really respect that might know a thing or two about property or finance or investing, like, just pick up the phone and talk to them. If anyone did that to me and was like, hey, look, my boyfriend wants me to do XYZ, like, what do you think? Even a tiny bit of advice, or I might not be able to help, and I'd be like, oh, but actually you should talk to Stephen, he's great. Talk to people. And I think it was like when we had Tracy Hall on about when she got scammed, and she was like, one thing I wish I'd just spoken to my friends about what he was doing and investing in, because some of my friends worked in finance and they would have been like, hang on, that doesn't exist. And like, she
also just like talking out loud, you kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. It takes the sting out of it. It makes you realize like there's something about talking it through, even if it's just the act of saying something out loud. What I will say is 15 years ago, there was nothing that existed around financial education. And also no one talked about money. So I so see like how this happened.
I think this day though, like even just being like to your friends, hey, look, my boyfriend's investing in this project. You don't know. They might have an uncle or an auntie or a friend that actually works on that project development. You never know people, or they might have been through a similar situation and been like, oh gosh, babe, just make sure that you get this signed and ask these questions. Just from a simple conversation, we just need to talk to each other. Yeah.
Okay, last one. Should we do a voice note?
So this is my financial horror story. I'm not sure exactly which year it was, but I know it was during COVID, because I was exercising in a park when my dad gave me a call and said, Tim, did you get that money? What's happened? You just called me up and said you'd lost your phone and you need $3,000. And I said to him, no, I haven't. This is my number. He said, no, but you've lost your phone, haven't you? I said, how are you calling me on this phone if I've lost my phone? And at that point, he just went, oh, fuck, and just hung up. So it turns out someone had called him up and imitated me and asked for $3,000. And he happily went through the process of obviously verifying, checking the box, this is definitely not a scam and everything, and then just giving $3,000. What makes the whole thing even more bizarre is that my dad is not a generous person. He's very stingy. Growing up, would never part with cash, and even Christmas and birthdays, you're looking at CDs and books. And I never asked for money. I'd never asked for that amount of money. And I don't believe the person who scammed him even really gave a good reason, but he just happily did it. So he eventually did get his money back. I think it took about 3 or 4 months for Santander to sort that out. But yeah, he got his money back. And the moral of the story there is just don't assume your parents are intelligent enough to not get scammed, because they are. So keep an eye on them and look out for them. Make sure they're educated.
I'm sorry, but the dad, that's
my dad
so
would have done the same.
I don't reckon my dad would.
I know, but my parents would. I don't know. There's just so much technology these days, right? And like AI and all of that probably makes them sound very similar to his son. And when your kids are in distress or in trouble, like you'd do anything for them.
Oh, that's gutting. That's really like, also Tim sounds hot. Don't you reckon the British accent is just so sexy? Like, what is it? I just wish I could have a British accent.
Yeah, I think also like thankful to Santander for returning the money. There are certain banks, but it's not all the cases though. So like that's probably quite a unique case. They got their money back because
Totally.
remember when you transferred money to the wrong account?
Oh God, yes.
Oh my God, that was
so shit. It was for these earrings actually. It was like 700 or something. It was a lot of money, or 800, and
you rang the bank to ask.
Basically what happened was I transferred it to the account that I was meant. Anyway, I had put like a number wrong or something, and it went to some random person.
But you put the name of the account holder.
Yeah, and then the bank was like, "Sorry, can't do anything about it," and I was like,
"You're like, but the bank account doesn't match up with the name.
I've clearly like messed something up here." And they said to me, the only way we can get this money back is the person that you've transferred it to gives permission for the money to be retransferred. So I was sitting there waiting for.
But that was going to cost you $300.
I had to pay them to get it back. Also, it was so stupid, and I was just sitting there being like, "That's right." They made me pay for them to do an investigation to contact the person who I'd accidentally transferred it to, but they were like, "There's no guarantee you'll get this back. It's all down to the good of this person." And I was like, if that absolute twat doesn't give me my money back.
You should transfer that person 1 cent.
I'll just say, please, and give me it back.
Write in the description,
Love
just
you.
1 cent, be like, if you
give
me my money, and just hound them until they give it back. Anyway, but poor Tim's dad.
Yeah.
But yes, I think if in doubt, or if that is out of the blue for anyone, if a friend calls you, if a child calls you, anything, if you have a weird feeling, just, I don't know, message a friend of theirs and be like, hey, has Sophie actually lost her phone? Or call them, or like just get an extra level of.
I think the thing is, it's so easy to get tricked these days, and I don't actually think it comes down to intelligence. Okay, we've got one more
from Anna.
Okay.
Anna says, I wanted to share my financial horror story with you, but it's long and it might put people off investing unless you state that the FMA has dramatically increased regulations since this happened. I got stuck. Oh
no.
I got stuck in the David Ross Ponzi scheme. Now, for context, David Ross was a financial advisor in New Zealand, and he managed like millions of people, like millions of money, lots of people money. But a Ponzi scheme is when I go to you, I'm like, Soph, give me your money, I'll invest it and make it grow. You give me, let's say, $100 for argument's sake. And then you go, hey, Vic, what's my return being this year? And I go, shit, it's actually gone down. So I go to Emily, I go, Emily, give me your money. Give me 100 quid to invest. Now I've got 200. And then I go back to Sophie and be like, see, look, we've got 200. Then you go, cool. And then Emily goes, what's my return? I'm like, oh God. So I go to Lucy and I'm like, Lucy, I need more money. So it looks like, but it's artificial returns essentially. It's just that it looks bigger, but it's relying on everyone else.
Oh my
God.
God.
As soon as you go, I need to pull my money out,
the whole thing
unravels. Yeah.
Okay, right.
And it's illegal. Very illegal.
So this financial advisor was doing this with heaps of different people.
Yes. So David Ross, I think he was based in the South Island. Anyway, it was quite well known. Unfortunately, a lot of poor people lost their money. And yes, anyway.
Okay.
I got stuck in the David Ross Ponzi scheme along with my mum, dad and our neighbours and many investors in the lower North Island. He ruined lives. It was people's retirement money.
Oh my God.
Many of them had to go and get cleaning jobs at the local rural school instead of enjoying their retirement. Oh my God, that actually breaks my heart. And oh my God. These people have worked so hard for I just hope that people like David Ross don't intentionally set out to do this to people, that they kind of just get too far in and then there's no out, but they don't.
Their intention wasn't to do it from the beginning.
Yeah, I just feel like maybe their first investment didn't go well, and if you take a loan and then you're like, oh gosh, now I'm in debt, and I take another loan.
You tell a small lie, not thinking it's gonna snowball, and then you tell another one, and then all of a sudden.
And that's honestly my biggest fear, saving all this money to retirement and then having to work and not live in the years that you.
The whole point of
Anyway. He took generations of money savings. This sounds elite, but the reality was people used to try keeping money for their kids and then for their kids. They would make huge sacrifices to do this, and there were never any overseas holidays or labelled clothing where we lived. Long-term goals and plans were wiped out in one sad day. The opportunity cost, it was the what if that was the hardest to take. For example, I saved £500 a week living away from my friends in Nottingham instead of London so that I could come home with a house deposit. When I travelled, I did it on a shoestring. I could have seen way more of the world and done more things while I had the chance. That is often the hardest thing to take. Now that our kids are getting older, I also know that money would have made a profound impact on their lives, to help their education or to help them secure a house in the future, to set them up so it's not so hard going forward. But what I learned, never put all your eggs in one basket. The amount of people that did was crazy. Don't listen to your friends. Do your own research. Money is really not everything. Community and relationships matter so much more. This taught resilience, and everyone looked out for each other during this time. Some were so much worse off than others. When the carpet's pulled out from under you, it will hurt and it will take time to get back up. I was lucky to be so young. So many older people didn't have the time to save enough money for their retirement again. I didn't invest in the stock market again until I started working in finance and realized that I really needed to get back on track. Always be grateful for what you do have. So much more I could say about this, but there is a snapshot anyway. Written in a rush. Warm regards, Anna.
God, I'm so impressed at the resilience with these people that have had such a shit hand dealt to them.
I know.
Like, how is she such a good person who's just thinking about, I don't know, I think that's really incredible.
It's so hard to not be spiteful.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could share the story, but also share it with such grace. Like, always being grateful for what you do have.
It also shows that money can come and go, right? And it's just, gosh, she would have learned so much about herself and about, like she said, community relationships, everyone looking out for each other. That would have taught you way more than...
And also, you know, what she said about having spent, you know, less money on rent to live out of London. Like, she made all these really sensible decisions to be good financially. I don't know, I almost feel like what she said about wishing she had more for her kids particularly and being able to make it easier for them. I think the best thing you can do for your kids is set them up with the right mindset and the education, and they will be okay. You know, like, she might not have the money to give to them or to like help with a house deposit, but how she will be with money and how she approaches it and thinks about it will have such a profound impact on her kids.
I think two things. Firstly, again, diversify. Like, don't put all your money with a financial advisor like this, or at
so least, many people do though.
I know, but I think it's you should, I don't know, make sure that they are investing in lots of different things though. I mean, it's so hard because he would have shown people fund updates and he would have shown them
and he would have had so many other people. The thing is, if your mum and dad have invested or like work with this, you trust.
Yes. Oh, totally. And I think she's so right. The FMA, so the Financial Markets Authority in New Zealand, like the regulator, has had a huge step up in terms of regulating. So there's people like this that don't exist. Like, this doesn't happen all the time. This was like, you know, once every 10 years you kind of have someone. But with that, I think when you give your money to a financial advisor, or when you give your money to a fund manager, or when you sign up to a trading platform and they ask you those really frustrating questions and ask you to send your ID and ask you to, like, that is all.
They're trying to protect you.
Totally. It's, yes, at the time it's so annoying, but there's a reason behind that. And it's because people like this have taken advantage of people. And so they need to make sure that, you know, there are rules and regulations in place so this doesn't happen again.
Thank you so much to everyone who wrote an email or sent a voice note. I'm low-key quite stoked we got one from a guy.
Yeah.
I kind of love that. We're not trying to be everything for everyone. I know there's lots of men that will not enjoy the way that we talk about finance, but it's kind of cool.
There's probably lots of women that don't either.
Yeah.
To be honest. See ya.
Okay, bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Raising the Curve. These conversations are designed to teach you everything you need to know to be better with your money, from saving to investing to talking with your friends about your salaries, all of that stuff.
And if you like what you heard, we would love if you could please hit subscribe wherever you're listening and leave a comment. Let us know what you thought about the episode.
And it only takes 1 second and it would really make our week, our month, our year.
Yeah.
So please do it. Okay. Love you. Bye.
Okay, quickly. The Curve was created to empower and educate you about investing, but we are not financial advisors.
Our platform exists for educational purposes only, and it doesn't provide personalized investing advice for your individual needs and should not be relied upon to make an investment or financial decision.
And always remember to do your own research before making any investment or financial decision.
We're here for any knowledge and support you need, but the final call is always yours.
And thanks for being here.
You got this.
Yeah, we know you got this.